My wife and I discussed it, and we felt the best thing for our family was for me to try to stay for an extra day. That being Wednesday, due to the fact that she can't travel for 2 weeks. She's going to be tougher to get up to New York for a month. So just to have that support system with her, I mean, I can only speak from my experience, but fathers seeing their wives, she was completely finished. I mean, she was done. She had had surgery, and she was wiped. So having me there, I think, helped a lot, and vice versa.
That the Mets second baseman Daniel Murphy explaining why he missed the first 2 games of the season as he chose to stay with his wife, as you just heard, after she gave birth via C-section. But while Murphy was away, the subject didn't go away. Controversy brewing back here in New York, and Andrew, opinions all over the place on this one.
And as you might expect on a subject like this, Rich, it all started on sports radio, then blew up across traditional and social media. It all started with WFAN host Mike Francesa. He said Murphy's paternity leave should have been just 1 day, then added Murphy could have hired a nurse to take care of the baby if the wife needs help, but Francesa did not stop there.
You see the birth and you get back. I mean, what are you doing the first couple of days? Maybe you take care of the other kids. Well, you got to have someone do that if you're a Major League Baseball player. I'm sorry, you do. Because that's the only thing you're doing. You're not helping. Your wife doesn't need your help the first couple of days. You know that. You're not doing much those first couple of days with the baby that's just born.
And WFAN's morning duo, Craig Carton and Boomer Esiason, continued the theme this morning.
Assuming the birth went well, assuming your wife is fine, assuming the baby is fine, 24 hours. You stay there, baby's good, you have a good support system for the mom and the baby, you get your ass back to your team and you play baseball. That's my take on it. There's nothing you can do anyway. You're not breastfeeding the kid.
I was at C-section before the season starts. I need to be at opening day. I'm sorry. This is what makes our money. This is how we're going to live our life. This is going to give my child every opportunity to be a success in life. I'll be able to afford any college I want to send my kid to because I'm a baseball player.
Reaction was massive. All 3 sports gods were lambasted on network morning shows and on Twitter. Journalist Andrea Mitchell, one of them, calling out Carton. Can we talk? We grew up in the same hood. Why don't you get it about paternity leave? It cut both ways on the political spectrum. Conservative talker S.E. Cupp, is there a Mrs. Francesa? If yes, she must be so very proud of her cretinous husband. Hashtag Team Murphy. Congresswoman Nita Lowey tweeted, Francesa's wrong. Congrats, Daniel Murphy. I'd send my hubby to the minors if he missed child's birth for a baseball game. Staying in Congress, Representative Steve Israel disagreed with criticism for Daniel Murphy's paternity leave. Mets fans miss seeing him on the field, but I'm happy he put family first. From Mets blogger and an RNN staff member, Rich Catino, I simply cannot believe anyone criticizing Daniel Murphy. Pipe down. Let's get real. Being there for your wife and child is totally necessary. And former Mets pitcher turned radio host C.J. Nitkowski, why does Daniel Murphy have to defend his paternity leave? The insinuation that you should be anything but a family man first is disgusting. 2 quick follow-up notes. 1, Murphy had every right to take the time he took. Players are allowed up to 72 hours for paternity leave under the Major League Collective Bargaining Agreement, though only unpaid leave is allowed under federal law. And Murphy got his revenge, as every Mets fan hoped he would, on the field. He got a base hit in his first at-bat and was cheered before and after the hit, then later scored the first run of the Mets game, which unfortunately for the Mets, they later lost. Rich?
Okay. What I don't want to do is ever take the easy way out. And again, you can see the phone number on the bottom, everybody. We're going to be getting your phone calls throughout this. Everybody's opinion is as good as anybody's here at the table. 3 of us are dads on this one. This morning, I said, hey, I was there for all 3 of mine. I believe in paternity leave, but I thought in my head, there's a little difference being a pro athlete, you know? We've seen this happen before in other sports. Be there for the day, get back for the second one. The more I thought about it, who the hell am I to say what he should or shouldn't do? And I thought about that, and the arrogance of Francesa to go out there and say, and we didn't have time to play the whole clip, but he said, I did the following and he should do it as well, as if he creates the standard that everyone else needs to live by. I understand, because viscerally I said 1 day, that's probably enough here, get back. But if he takes 2, if he takes 3, he's allowed to. And you know what? It really should be up to him. You know, Anyway, that's my take. Where do you come down on?
I think trying to put yourself in the birthing room and then talking about breastfeeding and C-sections, like it's trying to get in somebody else's marriage. Why in God's name would you do that? I mean, when I was working for Senator Schumer, I went back when my first one was born. A few days after for one meeting, I still hear about it. I was wrong. I did it for a variety of reasons, but I was wrong. Why get involved in this? But you're talking about a very obsessed group of people where they were thankful they had something to talk about.
Very obsessed. There we go. Richard.
Well, is there a difference, Dominic, with being a pro athlete, because you have a fixed amount of games that you're playing?
No, there's
being a regular.
No, there's no difference. And here's why. The same protections that you may have under law or a janitor or a professional athlete. So let me get this right. Because he's a professional baseball player, fans and these nut jobs on talk radio who make hundreds of thousands of dollars just to say the most outrageous thing possible and pull in ratings, because they say he should be on the baseball field and ignore his wife, that's what he should do. If his employer doesn't have a problem with that, who are these nuts on the radio?
It's also a generational thing. I mean, this is not something that would have happened 10 or 15 years ago.
Let me turn this a little bit, because this was the first couple of games of the season, and the Mets, let's be honest, as much as I would like them to be in the pennant race this year, nobody expects them to be, so it's not like every game is going to matter.
Why are you being so hurtful?
But if it was going down, it hurts me too. That knife cuts both ways. But if it was September in the middle of a pennant drive, or October and the playoffs were there, or the NFL, you only play 16 games, and missing one game is actually pretty critical.
You guys may remember to that point, David Williams, many years ago, he was a lineman. He missed the game on Sunday. I thought they were going to crucify the guy. And everybody thought that, my God, how soft are you? You only play Sundays. Go see the kid on Monday. So to Andrew's point, this isn't the first time we've talked about this.
I mean, there was a big outrage when Sandy Koufax sat out a game on Yom Kippur.
Well, at least that's a religious
No, I
observance,
understand.
right,
But he sat out. But the Brooklyn Dodgers were in the middle of a pennant race, and a lot of fans were upset about him. A lot of Jewish fans were thrilled with it.
But fans are upset at everything, and I mean, they're not the employer. Fans, I turned on sports radio. I almost can't listen to it anymore. You know what they were upset about today? Because the nut jobs on sport radio, I'm talking about the host, they were upset because they showed a shot of the Nets players during the Knicks game last night. They lost by, I think, 29.
Yeah, they were laughing on the bench.
And they were upset that the players were laughing on the bench. So now the players can't even smile or laugh. You're supposed to be ferocious and a lion to the bitter end.
Coming back to this one, I'm sorry. This might get me in trouble. If my team's in the Super Bowl and my quarterback, look, Joe Flacco, he missed the birth of his child because they had a game on the Sunday.
That's different.
That's very different.
Okay, so we are
different.
saying that there are times.
But I'm sure the employer will say, listen, we know your wife may not be too comfortable with this, but listen, your contract is up this year. We need you on the field for the Super Bowl.
Well, how about take the contract out of it? How about it's a Super Bowl? Would you miss the Super Bowl for the birth of your child?
I don't think any reasonable woman would want you.
No, I'm asking you.
I wouldn't. I know. I was told, just as a journalist, when I was missing my son's birth, my wife told me, get to the hospital or don't come home. That was the option that I was given.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Now, nobody's saying he shouldn't have been there for the birth. The only question became, how long should you stay after the birth, missing multiple games? In this case, what do you think? All right, phone lines, Jan. We come back. I'm going to bring you into our conversation here and see where you stand on this issue. Should pro athletes not just be there for the birth? Everyone agrees they should, but should they stay on paternity leave? And should it be any different than any of you or us here that work in the real world? What do you think? You know the toll-free number, 38766-2428. We'll be right back.